picture. It's unbelievable, isn't it? When the photo was first found, no one quite knew what was going on here. This was taken in the United States in a small southern town. The folk there worked in the woods, chopping down trees to use as fuel. They clearly had some mighty tall assistants. Is this a real giant? It's plausible that this is simply a statue advertising local business. However, it's also possible that this image was created with a trick of the camera, with a changing perspective forcing us to see one man far larger than the rest. What do you think happened here? Let us know by using hashtag missing topic and comment below. Eva Carriere. The science of seances and communication with the next life has been of huge fascination to us over the years. Humankind has always been interested in what might happen after death. We have continuously tried to contact the other side for some hint of what's to come. There have been many fraudulent mediums who have claimed to have contacted the dead, but Eva Carriere is particularly infamous. There are a series of photographs that showcase her so-called skills in action. However, Eva was a fake known for manipulating the photos to make it seem as if she had special properties. She used cardboard and paper cutouts to create the illusion that a spirit had arrived. She even created ghostly ectoplasm from chewed paper in an attempt to make the whole thing believable. Although Eva might have earned quite a lot of fame and money in her time, these photos now act as a reminder of how absurd the whole thing was. Leporatic. Some photos depict the unimaginable. They're powerful and show the worst sides of human history. Old photos are incredible for documenting key events in our timeline. The death of Leporatic is one such event that's been photographed and analyzed years on. The outspoken 17-year-old was a Bosnian member of Yugoslav partisans and a communist. She fought for her people in every way that she could, but her beliefs put her in terrible danger. On the 8th of February, 1943, the young girl was hanged for her ideologies. She was murdered by the Nazis during World War II. The picture serves as a reminder of her bravery in the face of terrible circumstances. Her final words were fight, people, for your freedom. This photo is a symbol of strength and has immortalized her as a woman who never backed down. She would later become the youngest recipient of the Order of the People's Hero, because even when she was offered a way out of the noose, she chose not to give up her allies. Bobby Gibb. Women have always been able to run in marathons, haven't they? Well, that's not strictly true. The Boston Marathon is a famous event that's held every year, allowing participants to chance at glory and victory. It's certainly a difficult race, but anyone should be able to compete in it. Well, that never used to be the case. It was previously an all-male event because women were deemed to be incapable of running such distances. However, in 1966, woman named Bobby Gibb gate crashed the race. She first allowed many of the male runners to depart before she jumped into the marathon. She tried to disguise herself, but when people quickly realized she was a woman, she revealed herself much to the crowd's delight. Bobby Gibb went on to be a famous participant in the race.
我慢するのは嫌。だからデータも大容量がいい。バイモバイルはクリアして大容量。
Even though she wasn't technically in it. She actually finished ahead of two-thirds of the other runners, though, demonstrating that she had every right to be there. The photos taken on that day are an important moment in history. Adolf Hitler and Lederhosen. Adolf Hitler is one of the most photographed men in history. He's vital in the way human society developed across the 20th century. As the leader of the Nazi Germany, he was well versed in visual propaganda and understood how to motivate his people. Hitler wanted to get back to traditional family values and sensed that the country would benefit from celebrating in culture and heritage. Thus, this picture was taken of Hitler in classic Lederhosen, designed to endear him to the populace. It's certainly a statement and does reflect a well-known piece of German tradition. However, Hitler actually went into a rage about the photos and having to wear the Lederhosen at all, because it showed his knobbly knees. The discovered picture doesn't really reflect what Hitler's propaganda team would have wanted. Instead, it's just a reminder of how cruel and apparently vain the terrible fascist was. Hearing sound for the first time. There have been some truly amazing scientific breakthroughs in the audio community over the past few decades. We take things like hearing aids for granted now. However, in the 20th century, These kinds of technological breakthroughs were few and far between. Harold Whittles, a young boy, had spent the first 5 years of his life being unable to hear. However, this photo, which was taken by Jack Bradley and published in Reader's Digest, shows Harold's reaction to hearing for the first time. In 1974, he was given a hearing aid, which changed his life. His look is one of complete shock, because his world had entirely changed. This is the sort of old photo you have to see, as it shows how far we've really come. This is an astounding and beautiful moment that was luckily caught on camera, and is a vital piece of evidence that shows just how quickly technology changed the way we live. The first Ronald McDonald. McDonald's is a worldwide brand that seems to just always be around, but the franchise was first created in 1940, and it took some time before it became the juggernaut it is today. There's even a movie about it. The mascot, Ronald McDonald, would have surely always been a part of the branding, but in truth, Ronald was a much later addition. In fact, an old photo shows the very first person to play the titular clown. In 1963, the actor Willard Scott is featured in the photo, which shows a very basic version of Ronald McDonald in action. Although the look of the clown has changed many times in the years since, the general concept has always remained the same. This doesn't really look like the Ronald we've all come to know. The cuff on his nose is a dead giveaway that this is a prototype version of the mascot. It's funny to see how one of the world's most recognizable fast food characters has changed almost beyond recognition. Shares his ration. Germany during World War II used some unspeakable methods to increase their control over invaded territories. One of their priorities was to plunder the food supply in Soviet areas, to sustain the troops and essentially starve out the population. It was a terrible time for the soldiers and locals who had to survive in such conditions. However, this picture from a photographer of the 291st Division of the Wehrmacht George Gunlock shows that even in hell, there's kindness. This depicts a German soldier who's actually sharing their rations with a Soviet mother. In 1941, although the act would ultimately prove to be futile, considering it simply wouldn't be enough, it shows that not everyone in the German army clearly believed in what they were fighting for. It's a sign of humanity in a desperate time. Although the Nazi soldier could have easily been punished for such an act of heroism, he did it anyway, because it was the right thing to do. Giant hippo harnessed.